I am going to organize my first, and then we will do everything that I watched during the month of August. So, comment down below, what have you seen during the month of August? Personally, I have managed to catch quite a few things, and overall, I'm surprised at how much stuff I managed to end up watching. So, let me continue getting all this stuff together. Somehow I ended up with something in my list that wasn't. Okay. So let me go on ahead and double check my playlist. I want to make sure I name off all the stuff that I watched in theaters as well. And then we'll go into my stacks. So, let's take a look at this. Alright. First thing I only watched 3 movies in theaters during the month of August. That's a little bit of a surprise. Anyway, first movie I saw was A24's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. So I want to point out that shout out to A24. Being an A24 All Access member, I got to see the movie for free. So on that end, huge shout out to A24 on that one. The movie itself was a good movie. I definitely stand behind what I said before, that I do think the ending is going to be polarizing for quite a few people. Simple as that. Second movie I saw in theaters this particular month was Vengeance. Alright, so I wanted to see this movie from the get-go. It looked interesting. It's a Blumhouse title. I love my Blumhouse movies. But it came out the same week as a bunch of other movies I wanted to see. And because I ended up seeing the big blockbusters first, I ended up not getting to see it in my main theater because it was there for 2 weeks. However, there is a second movie theater in my area that is a second run theater. It plays stuff like right before it hits streaming, physical media, all that good stuff. So I got to see Vengeance then. And it is currently my number 1 for most underrated movie of the year. I really wish that more people would have went out to see this. And I can't say too much because I didn't see it opening week either. But I am looking forward to getting my hands on that physical release. And I'm going to do my part to make sure that more people see this movie. Alright, so the last movie I saw is under my Let's Watch playlist if you have seen the review. However, I did not see this one in theaters because it's not playing in my area. And that is A24's Funny Pages. I didn't hate the movie, but it was not one that I plan to rewatch anytime soon. My reviews for all these, once this is live, once the replay is up, I'll have a pinned comment down below where you can see my reviews for Bodies, 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 Vengeance, and Funny Pages. Another thing that I watched during the month of August that I can't really show off right now because, well, it's a Netflix original and Netflix doesn't do physical media. So, not much I can really do about that. But I did manage to get my hands on watching Midnight Mass. It is created by Mike Flanagan. He was the director of Doctor Sleep. He is the man behind The Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor miniseries, each that are on Netflix. So I wanted to check this one out because I've heard a lot of good things. On one end, it was really good. However, I live in an area that is run by, I don't know a nicer way to put this, so sorry y'all, but I live in an area run by religious zealots. So there's some stuff that happens in Midnight Mass that hits a little too close to home for me, to the point where it wasn't necessarily scary. It definitely had some eerie vibes. Don't get me wrong, it's a great show. I highly recommend it. I wish more people I knew personally had seen it, because I would love for some of the people I know personally to see this, and I just want to hear their thoughts. See if they see the same parallels to the area where I live that I see. Now, let's get into the physical media stuff that I watched at home during the month of August. And surprising enough, hey man, what's going on? Just showing off all the stuff that I've watched during the month of August. And if your comment came in while I was watching Midnight Mass, no offense on anyone's religious views, just wanted to share my thoughts on that particular series. So, I'm going to show off my animated stuff I watched first. So we got the Skycrawlers. I bought this at a Big Lots, not my local one, for $3, I believe. I watched this years ago when someone I used to work with had a copy, and I had a copy of something he wanted to see, so we traded. He let me watch this. I let him watch whatever it was that I let him watch. And this was pretty good. And then to see it a few years later, and there it is on shelves at Big Lots for like $3 or $5. Like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. And rewatched it recently, and it is still pretty good. From Up on Poppy Hill. So I needed to watch this for one major reason. My two least favorite Studio Ghibli titles are made by Goro Miyazaki, which are Tales of Earthsea and Earwig and the Witch. So when this got its steelbook release, I did not want to watch this. It's made by the same person who has made my two least favorite Ghibli releases to date. One of them being my absolute least favorite, to the point where I had told my Studio Ghibli friends, you might not want to watch it. However, this is probably his best work out of the stuff that he's done with Studio Ghibli. Does that mean it's a great movie? No. Is it worth watching? Yes. I definitely will say it's a good movie. It's average compared to everything under the Studio Ghibli umbrella, but it's still worth a watch. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2. I'm going to be honest with everyone. This is probably my favorite Star Trek show out of the new stuff they've done since Discovery. Don't get me wrong, Picard is amazing. But this, I rewatched Season 1 twice before watching Season 2. I enjoy this show. I've heard there's going to be a crossover with Strange New Worlds, which is weird given the timeline, but I'm still going to check it out. Overall, definitely recommend this. Season 2 is a step up from Season 1, which says a lot because Season 1 is awesome. Alright, since I showed off my animated stuff, I might as well stick with it by showing off my Marvel and DC stuff. Now, if you've seen other videos on this channel, you know I'm a huge comic book person. I love my Marvel and DC stuff. But this month is probably the month I have watched the least amount of Marvel and DC stuff. We've got Justice Society at World War II. I chose to watch this because they have announced that one of the 2023 movies, which right now my views towards Warner Brothers is not at the best right now. I'm thinking about doing a video talking about that later. So hopefully we still get that sequel. But I did rewatch this. I like it, but I don't like the animation style that Warner Brothers is going with right now. And unfortunately, we're not getting that animation style just with that. It looks like that animation style is also going to be in the new Mortal Kombat animated movie. And I'm not a fan of it. Simple as that. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Season 2. For anyone that is wondering, no, this is not a bootleg. This is the Canadian release. E1 released both seasons of Earth's Mightiest Heroes up in Canada. My copy of Season 2 just happened to come with a slipcover. And this is probably one of my favorite Marvel cartoons. As a Marvel DC person, I think we can all be honest with ourselves that Marvel definitely has the upper hand when it goes to movies. I think most people will also agree with me that DC has the upper hand when it goes to animation. However, the early 2010s, it looked like Marvel was going to give DC a run for their money with this and Spectacular Spider-Man. And then Marvel said we want to do it ourselves and screwed everything up. Alright, this next section's just miscellaneous stuff that I have watched. Don't necessarily have anything specific. I will say most of these. Yeah, we are region 1 when it goes to Blu-ray stuff. So anything that's region 1 is viewable in Canada, America, Mexico, and I think Japan. Keep in mind though, there is an exchange rate, and a lot of people, because of the events of 2020, shipping internationally has went up in price. It's one of the reasons I don't own the Zavi Batman Steelbooks. But yeah, you can view Canadian releases and Mexican releases on an American Blu-ray player. Because if, not sure if you bought anything from Dollar Tree, but they've had a lot of Mexican DVDs and Blu-rays where I live at least. They're still playable because it's all in the same region, both for DVD regions and Blu-ray regions. So, this next one is just random stuff that I've watched. Hardcore Henry. I picked this up at, I want to say, Dollar Tree. I remember seeing the trailers for this when it first came out, and not trying to get too personal here, but I remember it was pretty much just 3D releases where I live at, and I have vertigo. 3D and vertigo don't go well together. Just want to say that now. So I didn't see it. But I saw it at Dollar Tree. It was $1.25, so I thought, you know what, why not? It's definitely a unique movie. Seeing something from first-person point of view was pretty cool. The story itself I think could have been a little bit better. But overall, not a bad movie. If you need something to watch that's fairly short, this is an hour and 37. So definitely check it out if you get a chance. Ride Along 2. I picked this up at Big Lots. It was on clearance. I think I got it for $1 and some change. The first one, I went into it thinking it was going to suck, and it ended up being pretty good. This movie did not look appealing to me when I first saw the trailers. Then a couple of people I know saw it, said they didn't like it. And I don't own one, so I was kind of holding off on getting this one because if I got this one, then I'd want to own one. I still don't own the first one. And this movie's okay. It's nothing I'm going to revisit. Long story short. As a matter of fact, for the record, I do not know if this is going to work. So if it doesn't work, I'm sorry. There's the digital code for anyone that wants to use it, because I know for a fact that I'm not going to use it. To whoever decides to use that, comment down below that you claimed it or that you tried it and it didn't work. Another Dollar Tree pickup for me was Keanu. Alright, so this was not directed by Jordan Peele, but this is pretty much the first big behind the scenes thing that Jordan Peele did before he did Get Out. And I'm thinking when the physical release of Nope comes out, I might do something with all the stuff that he's had a huge behind the scenes hand on. One of those being Keanu, so I want to rewatch it. And this movie is hilarious. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It was fun. Enjoyed it the entire time. It's an hour and 40 minutes for anyone that wants to check it out. It's got a short-ish run time. Check it out if you haven't. And for all you know, it might end up at your local Dollar Tree. And because I did actually get this one through Vudu, here's another digital code for anyone that wants it. And it looks like I'm going to have... I might have a few more digital codes I'll be giving out. So next is Downsizing. So I got this because it was $3 at Big Lots. It has the slit. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to check this out. I did not like this movie. It overstayed its welcome. It has too many B plots. Had they just stuck with the main plot of them downsizing to avoid any issues involving the end of the world, spoiler alert, it wouldn't have been a bad movie. But they throw in so many B plots to the point where it's like, all right, get on to the end of the story already. I did not like this movie. Simple as that. No offense to Matt Damon, but not something I'm going to be rewatching. Alright, so Paramount's a little bit different than Universal. Again, I don't know if any of these are going to work, but there is the digital code to Downsizing for anyone that wants to see if it actually works. Next, Promising Young Woman. So I got this from Target during their Black Friday sale. Theirs was buy two, get one on all books, movies, and music, I think. So I picked this one up. Yes, I am just now getting around to it. There's still some stuff I have from months ago that's still wrapped in the plastic. Uh, Not a bad movie, but something throughout the movie was not fully connecting with me. Like, I get the revenge plot, that part was good, but overall, something about this movie just was not connecting with me like other revenge movies. Is it a bad movie? No. Would I recommend it? I'd say it's worth a watch. I'm glad I got to get it at a discount price because I think I would have been a little disappointed had I paid full price. And I can't give the digital code away on this one because my copy, despite what it says and the fact that I bought it new, it did not come with one. Before I Fall. I chose to watch this one because of its short runtime and still trying to have stuff to watch at home while I'm here. I am about to hate on a classic movie here. This has a similar plot to Groundhog Day, where there is a time loop and the person has to figure out how to get themselves out of the time loop. I am so tired of all these Groundhog Day homages, twists, personal takes. So because of that, this movie did not connect with me. Don't know what else to say on that one. And for the record, this is probably going to be the last one for now. But there is the digital code to Before I Fall to anyone that would like to check this out. Alright, so now I'm going to go into my A24 movies, given that I've watched quite a bit of A24 this month. Wasn't necessarily intentional, it was just I bought some stuff over the last few months. And there was one that was actually a recommendation to me specifically. So, out of the stuff I've seen this month at least, this one's probably my favorite, which is Come On, Come On. Really good family story about someone connecting with someone. This relationship between guy and his nephew. And just seeing the connection and how it leads to a little bit of a reconnection with other family members. Overall, really good movie. Them making it black and white was actually a pretty cool aesthetic, personally. So this one, I highly recommend watching if you have not seen it. And I'm going to have in that pinned comment down below with my reviews. I also did an unboxing for the book Star Child that is featured in this. I bought that not too long ago. It's the book that is featured in the movie. Lady Bird. Alright, for those that don't know, my birthday was in August. And as I mentioned earlier, I am an A24 All Access member. So when they sent me the email that I get to pick something for a birthday gift for my birthday, they also had a movie recommendation. You were born in August. You need to watch Lady Bird. And this is one of the movies I got from FYE in my area before they closed down. And I hadn't watched it yet. So I finally sat down and watched it. I've said this before, coming of age movies just aren't really my thing. Is this a bad movie? No. But I was not the audience for it. I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying I personally didn't connect with it. Great cast, great performances, just not my thing. Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. This is now quite possibly my least favorite A24 movie to date. A while back, it was announced that this is supposed to be getting a 4K release from someone at some point. I am likely going to pass on it. I did not like this movie. It did not keep my attention. I'm glad I only paid $5 for the movie, which for me was still too much. And once again, there is another digital code. This one should work. I bought this one new. It's not that old a movie. And Lionsgate does not use movies anywhere, so I don't think there's an expiration date on this per se. Dark Places. So, I wanted to check this one out because it's based on a book from the same author that wrote the book Gone Girl. Now, I've read both books and I actually like the Dark Places novel over the Gone Girl one. And I thought I was going to enjoy this movie. However, gotta remember, Gone Girl is directed by Fincher, one of the best. And that's nothing against the director on this, but this movie did not, something about it just didn't connect with me the same way that Gone Girl did. It's not a bad movie. Everyone that's in it did a good performance, but I can't say I'm going to be revisiting this one anytime soon. The Souvenir Parts 1 and 2. I will have the unboxing for this in the pinned comment as well. So, this is the first A24 movie to get a sequel. So, it got my attention that this is the first, I guess, franchise of sorts from A24. The first movie is really good. It's really emotional. It's got you holding on till the very end. It was a little long, for my taste at least, but it was really good. Part 2 is a continuation of the story told in Part 1, but it doesn't have that same emotional grip that the first movie had. So while it was shorter, while it did continue its story, I can't say that Part 2 is great. To anyone that wants to check out Part 1, I do believe Part 1 does have a standalone release. Part 2, I don't think has a standalone release, at least not in America. So I would definitely say Part 1's worth a watch. Part 2, if you really want to see the main character's story continue, go for it, but it's definitely middle of the road for me with my A24 movies. A24's got some good stuff. One of my favorites is Ex Machina, which is a sci-fi movie. Definitely recommend that one. And depending on what your sense of humor is, I personally thought Zola was really good. And of course, being a fan of like weird sci-fi stuff, Everything Everywhere All at Once is also something I highly recommend. But Lady Bird, like I said, isn't bad. It's just something I personally wasn't as connected with as other people were. Minari. I think when this got nominated for all its Oscars, it was on sale at my local Barnes and Noble. So I was able to get it, I think, for $10. It's a good movie. I definitely wish it were a little bit shorter, but if you've seen my reviews and stuff before, then you already know I have an issue with movies being too long anyway. And let's make this one the final. There is the last digital code I will be giving away in this particular live stream. For anyone that wants to see this. So, did I like the movie? Yes. Was it a good movie? Yes. Did the actors and actresses give good performances? Absolutely. However, I don't see myself revisiting this movie anytime soon. Good movie, but definitely a one-time watch for me. And I gotta say, this is a really cool slipcover. Like, A24 slipcovers are usually pretty nice. This one has a different, like, feel to it compared to the other A24 slipcovers I have. And the last A24 film that I watched during the month of August, which is weird because this is the first movie I watched during the month of August, The Disaster Artist. So, any movie buff knows about The Room, directed by Tommy Wiseau. This movie is about what happened behind the scenes with the making of The Room. And how people found out that Tommy Wiseau is a very strange individual with a very mysterious past. One of the things that got mentioned was a guy not believing in this, but hey, he got a check and he didn't even think it was going to go through, only to find out that Tommy Wiseau is loaded. There's one part where Sestro supposedly, there's different stories on this one as I found out that he was going to be in an episode of Malcolm in the Middle, directed by Bryan Cranston. And Wiseau was like, no, you're not, and went off on him. There's been different stories on that. I did not like this movie. Like, there's a couple of times where Tommy Wiseau did not come across as someone I would ever want to meet in person. And for Sestro to say that this is one of his best friends, it felt like quite a few times that Wiseau was gaslighting him. It's like, dude, why are you friends with someone who's being emotionally abusive to you? That's kind of how it came across to me. It was cool seeing like some of the behind the scenes stuff and how close to identical they tried to get certain scenes, like when they showed them making the movie The Room. Like they did a side-by-side comparison. Like you'd see the scene that's in The Disaster Artist and you'd see the scene that's in The Room during the credits. They did a good job on that. Bravo to them for that part. And also the fact that a movie about the making of one of the worst movies ever made more money than the movie that's one of the worst movies ever. There's some humor there. I'm sorry, but I get a chuckle at that. Alright. Finally. I will be wrapping up the what I watched during the month of August with my horror films. So one of the things I told myself I wasn't going to buy, and then I saw it and it looked too amazing and I had to buy it, was the Child's Play Steelbook over at Best Buy. So after I watched this and realized it had a short run time, instead of waiting on... Yeah, he did do a good job. I'm not saying he did bad. I'm just saying the characters themselves were not likable to me, and there was parts where I've heard there's a lot of inconsistencies with some of the stuff that the cast member said happened at the time versus stuff that was actually like proven fact. But overall, I mean, it was definitely worth the watch. Just not something I see myself revisiting. So, watch Child's Play again. This movie is a classic. I forgot the creator of this was not actually the director, and this was directed by the same director of the original Fright Night. So that was kind of cool. But again, this movie is a classic. And I ordered 1 and 2. And that was the reason I didn't want to buy the Steelbook, because I had the 4K of 1 coming in. Well, I got a little impatient while waiting for my copies of 1 and 2 to come in. So I ended up watching the rest of them on my Chucky 7 movie box set. And spoiler alert, Chucky Season 1 will be on the What I Watched for the month of September. Alright. So, the good part about these movies is that 1 and 2 are great. 3 is not bad. 4 has some good moments. Seed, Curse, and Cult all kind of suck. The problem is that all 3 of those movies have things that are mentioned in the TV series. So while it's not necessarily, it's not something you need to watch, it's something it definitely helps watching. Now, how Tiffany is no longer a doll, yeah, you're going to probably need to watch these movies. To anyone that has seen the show. One of the things I gotta say, I do need to order a 4K copy of Child's Play 3 because the Child's Play 3 Blu-ray that's in this does not have any special features. As far as the box set itself goes, this is pretty cheap for anyone that doesn't want to spend the nice little chunk of change you gotta spend on each individual Child's Play movie. I think I got my copy for either 22 or 24 on Groove. And it's got all 7 movies. So, for anyone that's looking to save some money, this is definitely still worth a watch if you don't want to spend the money on the 3 4Ks. The Cleansing Hour. Alright, so I need to give a shout out to Miranda at Miranda's Movie Madness. I bought this a while ago just because I thought, hey, I'm going to get one of the random movies at Walmart just because I hadn't bought anything on that particular new release Tuesday. And when I was watching a video on her channel, she mentioned this movie specifically, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. I have this. So, I decided I was going to go on ahead and watch it, and it is actually pretty good. If you're a fan of horror, if you want something that's reasonably priced, short runtime, or you can get a Shudder subscription. My copy actually came with a free trial of Shudder, so keep that in mind. And again, shout out to Miranda for reminding me about this movie. And if you're not subscribed to her, go give her a sub. Last Night in Soho. So I mentioned last year that this was probably one of my favorite theatrical movies of 2021. And I stand behind that. Oh yeah, the first one is a classic. Hands down, main one you need. I do like the second one as well though, so that's why I wanted to get the second movie on 4K. But only 1, 2, and 3 are available on 4K, whereas Groove, you can get the 7-movie box set, and it is cheaper than buying any one of those individually on 4K. So, gotta keep in mind what you need to do for budgetary reasons, but if you just want the 4K of Child's Play, go for it. Alright, so I stand behind everything I said with this movie. I loved it. Thomasin McKenzie, lead actress in the movie, held her own with Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, and Terrence Stamp. Unfortunately, he is not on the cover. But you've got 3 big name people in Hollywood. And this was probably her 3rd or 4th big movie. And she held her own with all of it. So to the people that are fans of Matt Smith or Anya Taylor-Joy, you're going to go into this movie watching it for them, and you're probably going to be leaving wanting to see more stuff from Thomasin McKenzie. Simple as that. Now, when I saw this in theaters, it was great. I wish more people would have seen it because it's a great movie. However, knowing some of the twists and turns in the movie my second time watching it, did mean that I wasn't giving it the same attention that I gave it the first time around. Was it still good when we got to some of those reveals? Yes, it was very good. And I stand behind one of the comments I said when I reviewed the movie, that this is probably the best made movie by Edgar Wright. He has improved so much as a director with each movie, and this movie is no exception. But if you're going to rewatch this movie, it doesn't have the same value. Just want to let everyone in on that now. Scary stories to tell in the dark. I could not tell you when I bought this. And I've wanted to watch it multiple times, and for whatever reason, I always end up picking something else to watch. Now, I was curious about this because I've read all 3 books. And all 3 books are great. I own all 3 books. But they're short story collections. They're not cohesive to one particular story. So I thought it was odd that they were making it into a movie. And the movie fell short with me for a couple different reasons. One, and yes, I'm aware it's certified fresh. I don't care. There's movies that are fresh that I don't like, and there's movies that are rotten that I do like. Anyway, this movie was trying to connect the stories, and I don't think they did a good job on it. Sorry, but it is what it is. The other thing is they only used either 3 or 4 stories, and instead of like trying to put in some more stuff, they extended some of these to where they felt a little drawn out. And if you've read the books, the stories are not that long. So for me, this felt like they could have done a whole lot better than what they did. Personally, what I would do instead So this was a co-production between CBS and Lionsgate. Either Lionsgate should do a miniseries and put it on Stars, or CBS should do something and put it on Paramount Plus. Like a miniseries with each episode representing a story from the 3 books would be great. But them trying to pick certain stories and then expand on them for this movie just didn't cut it with me. And finally, the last thing. Species. My Scream Factory copy. Alright, so what I remember from watching this was it was kind of cheesy but kind of fun. Has some great sci-fi, has some good horror elements. Worth watching. And rewatching it, my thoughts are pretty much the same. It was a fun watch. It had some cheesy stuff in it. Had some cool sci-fi stuff in it. Had some cool horror stuff in it. Am I going to go out and buy the sequels? Probably not. I don't remember liking any of them. But the original is a must own. Simple as that. And for a 4K from a boutique label, I got this for a reasonable price. I want to say it was $26 the first week it was out at Best Buy. And if I remember correctly, the last time I was in Best Buy, they still had this on the shelf. So that is everything. Yeah, the sequels kind of suck. Long story short. And the original one for a 4K, a Scream Factory 4K at that, is still pretty good. But yeah, definitely check your local Best Buy or even check Amazon, because Amazon's been price matching quite a bit lately. So yes, that is everything I watched during the month of August. To anyone that has tried to redeem any of the digital codes that I held out on the screen, comment down below if they worked or if you've claimed them. That way, later on, if all of them have been claimed, I can update the title to say that the digital codes have been claimed, because I'm probably going to change the title to let people know that I've given away some digital codes. So, that is pretty much it for this particular live stream. The plan is today, after this is over, I'm going to record a video which will be my first in a series called Let's Rant. I want to give my thoughts on the whole Cinemark Regal filing for bankruptcy. So I'm going to record that in a little bit. I'm going to eat lunch first, then record it. And hopefully, time depending, that video should be up tomorrow. Now, for everyone that is watching this after the live stream is over, comment down below what you've watched during the month of August. Yep. You have a good day too, dude. Life Force. I don't think I picked that one up. I forget why I didn't pick it up, but I don't remember picking that one up. So, if you were watching the replay of this, comment down below what you've watched during the month of August. And as always, if you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. You like what you see? Leave a thumbs up. Comment down below. 1. Were you able to redeem any of the digital codes that I held up on the screen? 2. Tell me what you watched during the month of August. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching and tune in next time.